Aziz from Canada asks the following question. You teach that we have to be open to the possibilities that consciousness is unlimited, then live from that perspective and see what happens. Could you please give as many examples as possible for how to think from that perspective, feel from that perspective, and act from that perspective? Dear Aziz, the number of examples that could be given is in fact infinite. And unfortunately, I have a limited amount of time to answer your question. But I hope to be able to, with my answer, to put you on the right track so that then you will discover, in your case, this infinity of examples in your daily life. First, how to think from that perspective. To think from that perspective means simply not to think from the opposite perspective. To think from the perspective of universal consciousness means to stop thinking from the perspective of limited, personal, body-mind-based consciousness. The habit to think from the old perspective is very strong. So there will be many opportunities during your day when you think I, me, this thought I, me, refers to the body, to the mind, or to a limited consciousness. To think from the new perspective would be first to ascertain for yourself, when you use the pronoun I or mine, what is the referent of this pronoun? Does it refer to the body? For instance, I have a headache. Does it refer to the mind? For instance, I am agitated. My thoughts are agitated. Or does it refer to the real you, to consciousness? For instance, I perceive, I feel, I decide, I observe, etc. I love. And to refrain when the thought is of the third kind, when the thought refers to consciousness itself, to the perceiver, to the thinker, to the doer, the decider, to refrain from superimposing any limitations onto it. Not to think of yourself as inside the box, but to think of yourself as outside the box. Think of yourself as being outside any box you can conceive of. Any box in space, any box in a mind, any box in time. For instance, if you think of yourself as mortal, you are thinking in the box. Replace the thought in the box by the immortal consciousness thought, the thought out of the box. If you think of yourself as being here and not there. That's again thinking inside the box. Think of yourself as being everywhere. And in particular, as being both in here and there as the person, the friend, the neighbor you are speaking to or you are relating to in this moment. So then this being there as well as here becomes love in action. So that's how to think from that perspective. As you can see, the exercises that you can do in this regard are infinite. There are as many exercises as there will be personal incoming thoughts, as there will be thoughts that revolve around the I or mine pronouns. Now, secondly, how to feel from that perspective. Here we are reaching, we have arrived at a realm which is not rational. It is the realm of feeling and bodily sensations. You first have to detect that feelings box you in. You have created, just as you have created a box at the conceptual level, you also have created a very nice box for yourself at the feeling level. Unfortunately, these boxes, they are caskets. Inside this box, you are not alive. You are a corpse. So live, feel out of the box. Example. You are sitting in front of a landscape, and there is this feeling, me, and the world out there. Me versus the non-me. Investigate at the feeling level. Where is the border? How does the border appear? And if this border appears within me as perceptions, feelings, sensations, is it not true then that I, as a perceiving presence, am beyond this border? And therefore, if you do that again and again, to arrive at the conclusion that I am beyond all borders. You know, Doctors Beyond Borders? Be a feeler beyond borders. Be a perceiver beyond borders. Don't allow any borders at the feeling level to limit you. And you will see that if you disallow any borders that are perceived to limit you, the way you feel and perceive your surroundings will change. And later on, in hindsight, it will seem to you ludicrous, preposterous, to have felt, to have perceived along the old lines. Now again, if the object that is in front of you is no longer the landscape, but it is another human being, or a cow, or a chicken, or a cat, for that matter, the fact that your body, in its natural perception, in its original perception, is borderless. The sentient being which is in front of you will be included in your own body. It will be part of it. In fact, the universe becomes your body. And at the feeling level, the universe and all sentient beings within, being your body, is the experience of love. Finally, what does it mean to act from that perspective? And an action comes from a decision, and this decision in turn comes from, sometimes mostly from reason, which is from intelligence, and sometimes mostly from feeling, from love. In your decisions, but unfortunately also, most of the time in the case of ignorance, the decisions come from the belief and the feeling to be a separate individual. So as you make a decision that is going to lead to an action, ascertain for yourself that you are not acting, deciding out of separateness, out of the belief that you are a separate entity, a separate consciousness, a separate person, but include all the parties that are involved or concerned by your decision, and try to make the decision which is fair for all parties involved. That would be the perfect decision. That is the path to right action, or, if you prefer, to loving, intelligent, impersonal action. These are the general guidelines, but any moment you think, any moment you feel, any moment you decide, any moment you act, becomes an exercise, an opportunity, in and by itself, and they are infinite. Thank you, Aziz, for your question.